Hey everybody, welcome to Facebook Live Ask Admissions. We have some special guests with us here tonight. My name is Jordan Stevenson. I'm the Director of Recruitment.
Frank Wills, the Director of Military Veteran Services.
Richard Sisk, Assistant Director, Military and Veteran Services.
Jacinta Lester, Senior Admissions Counselor.
We are excited to have Frank and Richard here with us tonight. Now, I gotta be real careful because these are my guys from campus. So we're gonna try to make sure everything, no inappropriateness, just enough banter to make this exciting. But ultimately you're gonna learn all about what we do for military and veteran services here at the institution. A couple things that we wanna make sure that you're aware of news around the nest. So if you're a parent out there, you're a student out there, and you are engaging with us in admissions and you're interested where you are in the process, maybe you just applied, maybe you haven't applied yet, and you're here, you're watching us tonight, and you're gonna find out a little bit more information just about Kennesaw State and why you should come to Kennesaw State, then now is the time to apply. We've got some big deadline dates coming up for fall 2019, so there's still time. Matter of fact, I was talking with somebody on our staff earlier today, and we're always shocked by the students that still reach out or we have conversations with at high schools or even around town. I was talking to somebody at church the other day about this very thing, that we're still taking applications. We take applications for freshmen and transfer freshmen all the way until June the 1st. So you've still got a little bit of time, not a lot of time, but a little bit of time. So June 1, big deadline date coming up for freshmen and transfer freshmen. And then if you're a transfer student or an adult learner, maybe you're a military service member and you're looking to come to school here this fall, you've got all the way until June the 14th to apply. So 2 weeks after our freshman and transfer deadline, freshman and transfer freshman deadline, we've got the transfer deadline, adult learner deadline, non-degree seeking students, transient students coming up, and it's June the 14th. That's the application deadline. It's not the document deadline. I want to make sure that we get that out as well, that you want to apply to the university, then you've got a month to turn in all of your supporting documentation. So if you're a transfer student out there right now and you're like, oh, I don't know, I've been to 6 schools and I've just put it off, you still have time. You just need to get all those transcripts from all those institutions you've attended and get them sent to us by the document deadline, which for June 14th is the application deadline. July 14th is our document deadline for fall 2019. Something else coming up, we've got some really great transfer information sessions. And I would also encourage you, if you're a military or service member, you're looking to learn more, come to one of those transfer sessions. We will be there to support you. We'll make sure that you get all of your questions answered. But we've got some big info sessions coming up, one on June the 1st and one on June the 14th. We do one on each campus, one on the Kennesaw campus and one on the Marriott campus. We want to make sure we're being accessible to you. So the closest campus you can get to, just make it easy on yourself and come out to one of our info sessions. You sign up at visit.kennesaw.edu. So very easy, go to our visit website, visit.kennesaw.edu, and there's a sign up right there that says transfer information session, and make sure to do that. And then the last thing I'm going to remind you is that now's a great time to come and tour campus. If you're a junior now, rising senior, right? Big time, top of the heap in high school, and you're looking to go ahead and take some campus tours. Summertime's a great time. Now it's hot, and it is what it is.
Water.
Yeah, we give you a bottle of water or two. You can take as much water as you want. Please take water. We don't want you passing out on the tour. But come to a tour. We're going to keep you hydrated. And check us out during the summer. That way, when August 1 rolls around and it's time to apply and our application opens, you're ready to go and you know that Kennesaw State is the right place for you.
And you're acclimated to the heat.
True, that's a good point, actually. Yeah. Actually, I should take more campus tours in the summer because I could use the sweat. And so if you're a parent out there and you're like me, then yeah, do that too, and maybe you lose a little weight. That's a good thing. But take a campus tour, come see us, and we'd love to serve you over the summer. We're doing campus tours on both campuses, so be ready. It's the same website, visit.kennesaw.edu. So, we want to jump in and talk to these wonderful fellas that came out tonight, and they're spending their night away from their wives. I don't know that's a good thing or not. Maybe the wives
No.
hopefully the wives aren't watching Facebook.
It's a bachelor night.
Yeah, well,
That's a trick question.
and Jacinta, bachelor and bachelorette.
Correct. Yeah.
But we want to get to know these guys a little bit better and find out how they serve veteran students and service members here at the institution. So, and I think we've got a question lined up as well, but I want to go ahead and get it out here. Tell us a little bit more about yourselves. I want to hear from both of you. But where are you from? Where did you serve? And then how did you end up at Kennesaw State?
Well, Jordan, first of all, thanks for inviting us here this evening. I appreciate
Our
it.
pleasure.
Well, where am I from? I'm from Yazoo City, Mississippi.
Yeah.
Yep, great, wonderful place in Mississippi. How did I? Well, I was in the Marine Corps for 4 years, from 2000 to 2001. Served in Iraq in 2003. Got out, and when I got out in 2004, I joined the National Guard and was in the National Guard until 2008. So I went Marines and then Army National Guard. So it was a interesting transition. So, but I learned a lot from both branches, and that's why I think it benefits me for what I'm doing today. So I appreciate it.
When we get off camera, I'll ask you which branch you like better.
Yeah. Well, I have to say Marine. I'm sorry.
Yes.
So
All right.
that's a definite.
Understood.
Yeah. License plate Marine. But how did I end up at Kennesaw State? I worked at the Center for America's Veterans at Mississippi State, where I graduated. I was a graduate research assistant, and during my time there, I started the Student Veterans organization at Mississippi State, and helped establish the Student Veterans of America, the national organization that was a grassroots development from 2007 to now, present day, which is a big asset as far as lobbying issues for student veterans on campuses, and it helped pass the current post 9/11 GI Bill. So that was my
awesome.
history, and then from coming into KSU, we had a conference, Southeastern Conference, that was here at KSU in 2009, I believe. So I was invited to come and saw what KSU had to offer and what they were trying to do for student veterans. And so whenever they posted the job, I applied for it, and Bob Maddox interviewed, and I got hired. But essentially what I was able to see was the passion that they wanted to do and what they wanted to implement at KSU. So I took the best practices there and just replicated it and tried to upscale it a little bit and provide more services that are kind of your essential, things that student veterans need that are outside of what is normally available.
That's awesome.
And Frank really did a good job of adapting, the model with Mississippi State, what he learned, but adapting it to KSU to fit the population, and you have to do that. And I knew that firsthand because I was a student. When they hired him, I transferred in as a student. So
You're a believer.
I am a believer. Yes, I've been
A
brainwashed.
receiver.
I've been indoctrinated.
There you go. There you go.
So
And so I've been here for almost 10 years, and so
Wow.
it's been a wonderful adventure.
Old man.
Yeah.
Richard, tell us a little about yourself.
So coincidentally, I'm also from Mississippi, but I'm from from Pascagoula, which is a small town on the coast. But I joined the Army right out of high school. Was 17 years old, wanted to get the heck out of small town Mississippi, and got stationed, joined the Army, active duty, was an infantryman, and got stationed 5 hours from the house in Louisiana. So did 4 years there, did a deployment to Afghanistan. Unfortunately, an injury that occurred before I deployed kind of sidelined me, and that ended up causing me to get medically discharged out of the service, and decided I was going to use the college money. Started using my GI Bill benefits. I actually was on the first iteration of the post 9/11 GI Bill. So, and that was at a junior college in Mississippi back home. And transferred to KSU in 2010, was set to go to Auburn. Everything was going good, and then I met a woman, and now she's my wife, and I got 2 kids. So that all worked out great.
They have a way of doing that to you.
Yep, they do that. But so I transferred to KSU, and I saw the programs they had off. They had a sports management program. Well, Auburn didn't have a sports management program at that time. They had a different program I was interested in, but they didn't have the sports management. So came here, and really coming here, there were some hurdles because the semester that was ending at Mississippi Gulf Coast Community College, the dates didn't coincide well with the dates of the summer semester at KSU. And so I basically finished my last final. My truck was loaded up in the parking lot. Drove 6 hours to Kennesaw, moved in over the weekend, and then started class on Monday. So, and that would not have been possible if it weren't for the people that the student assistants that Frank had hired, and Frank himself, working in the center at the time, just answering all the questions, doing so much over the phone, getting so much done in that realm, and really taking the stress out of the transition and letting me focus on the stress of good grades and all the normal stressors that college brings, not the extra stressors that the military does. So.
Well, and the unique aspect of between Richard and myself is that we were both transitioning veterans into higher education. So we both went through the same processes, and we're the more unique aspect of this job because we are a product of the post 9/11 generation, where some that kind of predominantly do our job are retired, enlisted, or officers that may or may not have faced the same challenges that we did that are unique to us today. So that's an
and we're both first generation college students. Even in our family. So that's kind of what brought me here. And really, when I got here, I hung out at the office a lot, realized, hey, this is a cool job. And I was working at Petco at the time. And nothing against Petco, that was great. I love animals and whatnot.
Pets?
I like pets. I love getting bit by mice as much as the next guy while you're cleaning the cage. But I saw an opportunity. Frank's like, hey, if you're interested in working here, you can work here part time. And I'm like, oh, I can help other veterans deal with the same stuff I've been dealing with. I was like, yeah, sign me up. So, and little did I know that job, I was going to stay there the entire time while I was in school, and that was going to prepare me for my job now.
Look at you now.
Look at me now.
He got you.
Yep.
Yeah.
Smart. That's awesome. I love this. Y'all have a deep relationship, which is great. Of course, you work together, but no, this is really cool. What's our first question?
All right, first question comes from Zachary. He says Semper Fi.
Semper Fi.
And then he says he graduated from KSU.
What?
Just
Laughing at me. Sorry, I'm having a moment.
He graduated.
picking fights.
Sorry.
Okay, he graduated from KSU this past December and received a military tuition fee waiver for undergrad. Does the same waiver apply for grad school?
Well, do y'all know the answer to this? We're hitting it, deep question right off the bat. Thanks, Zach.
The question may be, was he using tuition assistance?
Okay, will you give us a little more info? Let's tell him what more info you would like.
So essentially, it just depends. There are certain benefits. So number one, there's like five different GI bills, and then on top of that, then you got tuition assistance, which is ran by the DoD, which is branch specific, Army, Navy, Marine Corps, etc. And then you've got state benefits and things like that too. So it just really depends what benefits were being used, and really, there's just a number of factors. So getting some more information, we will be able to help determine you can still get that fee waiver, or maybe you can't get the fee waiver, but maybe it's covered by this benefit anyway.
This actually brings up a good point. So we have veterans out there, we have active duty service members, and where should they start? How do they, one, you say there's 5 different benefits, and then there's all sorts of other things. Right. How do they know what they're looking at? How do they know the benefits that they would have received? Right. How do they go about researching more? Right. How can we help maybe somebody that doesn't know even what Zachary knows at this point?
Well, and really, you can really drive yourself nuts if you just go on Google and you start looking up everything, and that's what we're here for. I say give us a call, and that's what I tell everyone that comes to my office is we're a good place to start, because whether it's GI Bill benefit, whether it's benefits in general, academic advising, any number of the different services that we offer. Even if it's not we need to connect them with you in admissions, or Caroline, or someone else in admissions, or someone in financial aid, or the registrar's office. We're going to connect you. We're going to figure out where your next step should be and get you connected. And if you have questions, we're going to get an answer, or we're going to help you figure out where we can get that answer.
Yeah, because the other aspect of, he mentions 5 GI bills, but what we did mention is that dependents are is a large population on KSU campus as well, and they use Chapter 35. If they have a mother or father who are 100% service connected disabled, then they have the ability to apply for Chapter 35. And some of them, you know, they don't understand the difference between post 9/11 and Chapter 35,
Right.
and that's because it's not the parent that is using it; it's the dependent. So there are some differences in that, and they may ultimately think that they're going to use post 9/11 when in fact it's not necessarily post 9/11 or classified as a GI Bill. So those are some differences there that we can explain face to face.
Yeah. One benefit may pay tuition and fees, and one benefit may just give you a monthly stipend.
Yeah, the difference between post 9/11 and voc rehab. If you're eligible for voc rehab and post 9/11, which one do you want to use? Which one's more beneficial while you're here as a student? You know, we can explain and walk you through those decisions to give you a better option and a better understanding of what's going to be better for you in your situation.
That's why we're glad they're here. So they can remember all of this stuff. So hold on, before.
He came back, pardon me.
Oh, perfect,
Yeah.
perfect,
He came
perfect.
back. He said he wasn't using TA,
Okay.
he was paying his own way.
Okay.
Now, were you using 1606? And again, there is a pay, if you are paying out of pocket and are currently in the reserves or active duty, you get the fee waiver, you're eligible for the fee waiver.
Right.
So considering the reserves and using 1606, that is in that realm of paying your own way. So that would have made one eligible for a fee waiver. And that may or may not be the case, but that seems to be predominantly where the fee waiver comes from if you're in the reserves and using 1606. And if you're not using TA or the GI Bill, you know, those are some other issues that can be discussed that we just need more information about.
How about, would y'all mind throwing out your contact information, telephone, best email, website? That way we can go ahead and get it out here early.
Right.
And we'll make sure it's all posted to the video as well. That way anybody can grab it quickly. But that way it's out there early now.
Right. So first off, you can find us online. You can go to MVS, that's Mike Victor Sierra, mvs.kennesaw.edu. You can also email us. And all this contact information is there on our website. But you can email our inbox is veterans, that's veterans plural, _resource at kennesaw.edu. We monitor that email every day. And typically if you send me something after hours, I try my best to answer it, you know, first thing in the morning. And we have another staff member who also monitors that email. And then you can also call us at our office at 470-578-2970. That's our Kennesaw campus office. And then if you were a STEM, you know, if you're interested in like the STEM field or engineering, you know, Marietta campus, then you can call our transition coordinator, Chris, on the Marietta campus at 470-578-2971. And those would be the primary ways you can get a hold of us.
So what about, because I mean, one, I'm already like confused with all the numbers you've thrown out in a 1606 and a 1776 and a, you know,
Right.
and all those things, right? But
Executive Order 66.
no.
Yeah, and in this environment, this information changes all the time.
Yeah.
It is very,
Yeah,
very
sure.
fluid, and just like in August, there's supposed to be another addition to the Forever GI Bill that will take in place for STEM majors. And that information has yet to completely come out, so we are learning it as we go, because we already have a lot of questions about that extension for the STEM majors. And there's also a bill being presented through the legislature right now to lower the credit hour for the STEM extension. So from 128, which it's now, to 120, but it has to be passed and then implemented. And see, these are the things that we got to keep a thumb on and know that it's working its way through the system so that we're prepared when it does hit us.
Okay. So because of all of this, and because y'all are the subject matter experts, and I also think, I imagine this population of students really likes to see you face to face.
Yes.
Where can they see you face to face on both campuses?
Right, so on the Kennesaw campus, you can find us in the oldest building on campus. It's Willingham Hall, but
It's a great building.
It's a great building. I love it. I
Yeah.
honestly love our location. So it's tucked away. Yes,
Prime location.
it's
The smartest people together, veterans and honors.
Yeah.
right,
Right.
absolutely. And really, so we have a tracking. We're able to track the the students that come through our office. And what we realized is the majority of our majors also end up in the social sciences building, and we're right next to the social sciences building.
Yeah.
So that is really a prime location. We have a computer lab that you can use. But yeah, Willingham Hall, room 200 on the Kennesaw campus. And then here in the Marietta campus, the Student Center, room 185, right around the corner from Chick-fil-A. So grab a bite to eat, come
There
in
you
the
go.
office and
There
see
you
somebody.
Yeah.
Yeah, we've got visitor parking right outside the Marietta Student Center, so very easy. We're in the Marietta Student Center right now, so it's really cool. You can come in here and see this awesome room.
Like right now, come in.
Yeah. Come knock on the door.
Okay, Zachary came back again,
Nice.
and he said he did have Chapter 1606 for the first portion of undergrad, but the VA stopped it last year, in the last year and a half. He knows the Board of Regents has a waiver for students paying their own way. The waiver allowed me to not pay the fees. So I guess that wasn't an
Yeah.
additional question, but I
Right.
think
Yeah.
it's important to know.
And if Zachary, if you're still serving in the reserves while going through grad school, then I would not see why not you would be eligible, or why you wouldn't be eligible for that fee waiver if you're paying your own way. But when you get out and you're considered a veteran, then that's when it complicates matters.
Right.
Okay. All right, our next question comes from Casey, and it's two parts. I'll just read both parts.
Okay.
She says, are there any scholarships for military families with their children heading to college? If her husband used his GI Bill for himself, are there any benefits for their children, the dependents, for college as he starts in August?
Okay, there's a lot of layers there.
Yeah. So as far as the scholarships are concerned, there are limited scholarships for dependents, and so it comes from Dobbins. It's donated to the university, and it's kind of between us and one of our certifying officials. We try to find individuals that are eligible for that dependent scholarship, and it comes from the Dobbins Wives Club, I believe, and that's through the foundation. So that is one area of scholarships for dependents, but it is, it's not as broad as you would, expect. It's a small pool, so we try to do the best we can at disseminating that. But when we know that someone is interested in a scholarship, then that immediately puts them on our radar to then talk to the foundation and so forth. But we do have a veteran scholarship also that we try to provide when benefits run out or they're extinguished from their 36 months of eligibility, that they're sometimes in the case where they're a semester out or they're graduating that semester and are paying out of pocket, then we try to provide them with that scholarship, 2 to 3 people a year. So that is, and that's on a donor by donor basis. So we do a 5K, we get money that's donated to that scholarship through a 5K, which will be in August, usually around August the 6th. And we'll put that information out on our website and also through our listserv and our Twitter. So be prepared for that.
Can I give and not run?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah,
Just
absolutely.
making sure.
Funny story, that same 5K, the Hero Run 5K, is the first day I met Jordan.
Oh,
We met
that's right.
at that 5K.
Yeah, downtown
Yep.
Kennesaw.
Yes, we did.
Oh yeah,
That's right.
Yeah. Angela Evans. Hey, Angela, if you're out there, she very nicely asked me to go to that, so I obliged.
It was a very
And,
interesting gentleman that told a
yeah.
very interesting joke that day.
I remember.
That we can't say on
Yeah, I
here.
know exactly. That's what I'm afraid of. Yeah. I remember. Oh yeah.
That's how me and Jordan met. Yeah.
Good times.
But we are constantly trying to expand our capabilities of our scholarship programs.
Awesome. That's it for questions right now.
Okay.
Okay, cool.
I want to ask. I know that we've got. I mean, really, what y'all have done here at the institution over the years is quite incredible, and I don't know that everybody knows. Kind of some of the what I'm calling right now some of the firsts that
Right.
you've brought not only to Kennesaw State but to the state of Georgia. So if you wouldn't mind, share some of those firsts that have come out of military and veteran services.
I'll start and I'll let Richard hammer in the details of the job of a transition coordinator, and those are some of the firsts. And again, that is to include the first. There's no other school in the state of Georgia that has transition coordinators specifically geared toward the veteran population. However, so that was one of the reasons, to go back to your question, why am I here, was I saw some opportunities and the chance to create something new and innovative. So we were the first center in the state of Georgia I was hired in as the first director to create this program, and that kind of was the catalyst for pretty much a lot of it. We were the best practices, the model to look after, because we have such a great and wide population, and it's so diverse that we were able to create a lot of unique attributes to our services that other institutions just weren't able to. One being the VA work study program. There wasn't very many VA work study programs in the state, so we established one that we consider our peer-to-peer mentor program. So we staff and we keep staff probably between 6 to 10 each semester, and they're cream of the crop, the students that want to give back. So we were the first ones to really tap into that resource and make it worth its while. And it had a huge impact on our student population, especially for those that are coming in and needed someone that had liked experiences and had someone to connect with that knew their background and their history. So we were the first to be able to do that. Create a center, a wonderful center on campus, accessible by the entire veteran community, and anybody that had any questions. One of our most important aspects, I think, most recently, is to be the first school in the state of Georgia to be awarded a VSOC counselor. And that's kind of our pride right now, and we're trying to disseminate that every chance we get, because what that allows us to do is have a direct contact with the VA. It is a VA representative, and what VSOC stands for is Vet Success on Campus. And there's roughly around 94 across the country, and they did not expand that program since 2013 or so, if I'm correct. But once they did expand it for that Forever GI Bill, we were one of the schools to be awarded a position. So the VA pays for that individual to be on campus, and they are housed in our office, and they can primarily voc rehab counselor background, but they can do any kind of thing as far as veteran health, mental health, information for anything as far as that's concerned, career paths outside of graduation and things like that. So it is essentially a position that can help the community, not just KSU students themselves, but someone that's even interested in KSU, but also interested in what the VA has and information. We're there, we're available. So that's one of our highlights as far as our first that I like to, because we applied for several years, and we finally got one. And now other schools are asking us, what did you do right? What did you do right? And I have no idea. I know that we
Waited them out.
Yeah, we waited them out. We sent a very thoughtful letter to them about what we do and about the support on campus across the board. And that's, that in itself is, I think, made us what was eligible for that position, is because of the resources on campus and what leadership has been given us and what we've been able to provide over the years. So that's one of our big firsts.
Right. All that coupled also with our location. The fact that we're a metro, we're X amount of miles from the closest VA regional office, and we're in an area, we're not quite rural, but we're not real close. So
Yeah. And
all of those things contributed.
And we have a huge student veteran population, and that contributes to some of the criteria that you got to meet first.
Right.
But then there are others that meet that criteria that put us above those others as well, like Georgia Southern, for instance. They have a huge veteran population, West Georgia as well. So, I think a lot of it comes back to we wanted to maintain a relationship with the VA. We stayed in contact with them. We didn't let a month or a week go by without us knocking on their door going, hey, are we still in the running?
Right.
And that showed that we not only cared, but we were serious about wanting to provide that service on campus.
That's a huge benefit, I think, if anybody out there that lives in the metro area, right, especially in the northern side of the metro,
Right.
and you're used to somewhat dealing with traffic or whatever it may be, to have this VSOC counselor here in Kennesaw and accessible versus having to drive down to Decatur or,
Right.
or somewhere else. That's a nice benefit.
Yeah, and her name is Margo Thompson, and she, like I said, she's a VA employee, and like Frank mentioned before, you don't have to be a KSU student to take advantage of her services. You can be literally a veteran in Metro Atlanta that has a hard time getting to Decatur. Come in our office and you can see her.
Because
Yeah.
ultimately, if they're asking questions about voc rehab, then they're wanting to continue their education, and why not KSU?
Right.
Since we're already providing, the services and the connections, what better place?
And we have over 150 degree programs.
Right.
We're a comprehensive university, a R2 research university,
Right.
and we have multiple campuses.
Absolutely. And wonderful employees, wonderful
Yeah.
people.
That's
Yeah.
right.
Wonderful staff.
That's right. Awesome. Thank y'all so much. I mean, we're doing this Facebook Live, so I'm of course going to say this, but that sounds like a lot of firsts.
Yes.
You know?
Yes.
And I think that that's incredible. One, to be where we are, a lot of the reasons that we've talked about, but to hear from you two, one, that you are both veterans, that you are actively serving that specific community and beyond,
Right.
It's not, the role that you play here at the institution and the role that we play is we serve far outside of even our areas. So I know that you guys are giving back as staff members in so many different ways across campus and how you've impacted lives. I know even from the things that I've been involved in with your crew and to see the students that have graduated from your programs and how they enjoyed KSU so much and they enjoyed what they got out of y'all that they work at other places across campus.
Right.
We got some, I can't remember his name right now, I'm blanking, but
Matthew Foley.
Yeah. Working in the library, just cool people working all over this institution. And
Yeah.
I think that says a lot about how you have served veterans over time.
Right. Yeah, we have a lot of success stories.
Yeah.
Too many to really to count, but enough. There's some fresh ones in mind that kind of hit home. And one is currently serving as a pilot in the U.S. Navy. So he's in California flying planes. Graduated here, was in the Marines, enlisted, and then went to Naval OCS, and then now he is in California flying airplanes and worked for us, in our office for the entire time he was a student. We got another officer in the Army that was good friends with Richard.
Right. Yeah. He's, I think, knocking on the door, becoming a major now. He's about to actually PCS or move to Colorado, out to Fort Carson.
Yeah.
So he's doing good things in the Army as an active duty officer now.
And if Suzanne Bettis is watching this, she is a lawyer in New York, so that's great. She was here at the
She was my
onset.
first point of contact as a student. I called her. She answered
cool.
the phone.
So she was, a Marine, was here when I got here as a student, kind of the student veteran organization. So she was an officer in that. So, these are stories that kind of just resonate, and then, it's just ongoing, so we're
Yeah,
just,
she's an assistant district attorney
yeah.
in New York.
Nice.
So, yeah.
There you go. You have any questions for the fellas?
Right.
So one of my questions is, why is higher education so important to you as a veteran?
So for me personally, as I said before, I'm a first generation college student. So I joined the military, grew up, my dad worked really hard, blue collar job, and there's nothing wrong with it. It was perfectly fine. It was great. Put bread on the table. But I also was like, I don't know if I want to do that every day for the rest of my life. I don't know if I want to, get up early, come home late, and be, have a long day like that. So I was like, I'm going to go to college at some point. But first, how am I going to get there? Well, I'm going to join the Army. And of course, what I do, I was infantry. So I was doing beat up work anyway. But that was all part of the plan.
The irony.
Right. I'm out there digging a hole and sleeping in it. So
And in Fort Polk.
and at Fort Polk, where
Close to home.
the state bird of Louisiana is a mosquito. So, and there was literally skunks crawling around our sleeping areas and stuff. So, but anyway, so it was good. It was good times to be had though. So that really I knew that I wanted to set my family up for success as best I could, and I felt like for me, going and receiving an education was a big part of that. And then, looking at my goals, at the time I wanted to be a sports broadcaster, and obviously that worked out. But
here you are on Facebook
but here
Live.
I am. But,
There you go.
That's right.
This is what it's all paying off. No. So that being said,
Except for the loans.
right? Except for the loans, right? Benefits will run out. But no. That being said, really, I just I wanted to set my family up for me. Part of that goal was getting my degree, and it was, I knew that college was going to be part of that plan. I wanted to go to college. I always wanted to, have the college experience and all those things. And so I was able. The military really, everything I have in my life is because of the military. My time in service allowed me to earn educational benefits, which helped me pay for college, which set me up much better success to focus in college on things like grades and things like that, and take a little bit of the stress off the financials of being an adult and getting married and having kids while in college, because I'm a non-traditional student in that regard, and these are non-traditional problems that a lot of other veterans face. And just if you're everyone has different goals in life, but in a lot of cases, part of that is, well, first you need a degree, and that was for me. And so, coming to KSU was, I was afforded a lot of opportunities, thanks to Frank and other people, and it all started with getting that degree in higher ed. So that's why it was important to me.
Now we're trying to get him to go back to grad school.
Yeah.
That's what
Trying to let the little ones get a little older before I commit, but I got to get it going.
Do it now.
And although Chris Brayton is not here, he is a graduate from KSU as well, and is the transition coordinator here on this campus. But he was also first gen as well. So Coast Guard, he was in the Coast Guard. We don't hold that against him.
There you go.
But it's just another interesting thing is that he was a KSU graduate as well.
Diversity, man. We got a lot of diversity.
And before him was Rayana Duck, and she was a graduate at KSU.
Right.
So we've had a lot of success at being able to find the people that want to continue to give back even after they graduate. Right. Regardless of the reasons why they came to school. Chris was I can't remember the exact degree field he went into, but Ray was anthropology, and so regardless of what type of education. They felt the need to want to, give back to the same environment that we were able to provide for them.
Well, and for me, I wanted to do broadcasting, and I was kind of working my way there. I ended up being a tour guide at CNN for a little while, and then, but while I was there, I realized I had got married, and we had a son while my senior year in school, and then we had a daughter on the way, and it was kind of one of those things, realizing that the broadcasting business was not, if you have an established family, it's one thing, but starting a young family was not easy to do with that. And so I thought, what am I going to do if I'm not doing broadcasting? And then I called Frank one day when I was on my commute from downtown Atlanta. I left at 5 o'clock, go home at 7:30, and was just like, helping veterans, at university and being back, in this environment. I was like, this is really the only other job field I can see myself doing for the rest of my life, and being happy, and it's rewarding. We just had a student named Matt Tarleton, and he just got his degrees, on his way to. He's an anthropology major. He's about to go to Belize with one of his professors, and. He just came in and gave us a big thank you, and he wrote a letter, and having that kind of reaction, and people, students coming back and saying, I tried to go to 4 other schools, and they said, here's a pamphlet, fill it out, have a good day, and they were about to quit on college, and then I sat down with you for 20 minutes, and you really listened to my issues, and you helped me figure out what I need to do, and if it wasn't for that, I was going to drop out.
Yeah.
That's a big win.
And to give an example of that, I was working construction in Tallahassee, Florida, when I noticed a kind of a news release about the Center for America's Veterans at Mississippi State, and it was a decision whether to stay in construction or go back to school. And I just called to see if I could just talk to someone about, hey, maybe I can go to Mississippi State. And their, relationship with me on the telephone, instantly impacted my life and helped me continue what I set to do, but then was able to finish it based on that, communication and that, place to be there, the physical entity, and people actually being in the office to answer the phone and then answer my questions specifically, because I went to junior college for 2 years, and going into college was a personal goal for me, it's a personal achievement. I wanted to do it for myself. After getting out of the Marines, I jumped right back into school, and jumping out, not knowing what's out there as far as your benefits, and going to a university. And I went to Daytona Beach Community College right after. I went back to a 2-year school, but and not having a connection. Where do I give my paperwork to, and where is the certifying official? And all that was a difficult process. I mean, they were not accessible. And this is the first kind of wave of post 9/11 veterans that were coming out and that have served overseas, and there was not a very good preparation for that. So, and I felt that. And so when I called the Center for America's Veterans, it was just like an instant connection, like bam, this is where I want to go to school, this is what they offered. And so, going to school there and knowing what they did for me, that was what I brought here. So we were able to replicate that sincere ability to help others.
Right.
I love this because what I've heard from y'all is passion.
Yeah.
I can hear passion in how you serve your community and how it impacted you, both of you, right? And then also what I hear is this personal experience from both of you that, and I've witnessed it too, so it kind of helps, but how it plays out and how you interact with people. Because as Jacinta and I know, and as you full well know, much of life is about relationships.
Right.
And it's about how you build relationships with people, and in relationship building, trust is created. And I think especially with the population that y'all are dealing with, there has to be trust,
Absolutely.
right? Especially with all of these different numbers
Absolutely.
and bills and different
Right.
benefit packages and things that that's why when somebody comes to our office,
We call them.
we send them straight over to these guys because we don't
appreciate that.
want to get in the way,
Yeah.
right?
Right.
We're smart. We learned,
Mm-hmm.
but that's what I hear is y'all are really out to build relationships with people and help service members, help veterans find out, is KSU the right place for them? How can we serve them? How can y'all help them make this transition? And I want to talk more about this too. Stay in school.
Right.
Just get to the goals that,
Right.
like you talked about. Get to the goals where, how am I going to take care of my family? How am I going to take care of myself? What does the rest of life look like? I know I need to get this degree, whatever
Right.
it may be, right? Could be something like anthropology or like me, religion,
Right.
totally random, right? Not extremely applicable. But hey, never been unemployed. So, and how do I get to that point so I can do all these other things?
Right. Well, and it's a balance. It becomes a balance between wanting to impart information and wanting to assist the student with yourself, but also knowing when to get other departments involved or other parties involved, whether it be inter-department, like whether it's, oh, you need to see this advisor in Coles College and you need to look into this, or you need to talk to this person over here about this, or is it a external community partner, like, oh, you're having these issues with your disability that's hindering your ability to focus on class. You should really get your disability rating looked at. You should look into this. And oh, by the way, there's a nonprofit organization called the Disabled American Veterans that we partner with. We have them come on campus once a month when we, or a couple times a semester. Things like that. Knowing when to, and like you said, establish that relationship and, really understanding where that student's coming from, whether they're dependent. There's a dependent I got in mind right now that I'm like, okay, it's been a couple weeks. The student has had some challenges in personal life and his academic life, and keeping tabs and really, making sure like, hey, have you done the things you're supposed to do? Have you been, just checking in on you, man? You doing okay?
And it would be almost impossible to be able to provide the services that we provide, without those relationships that we developed, without knowing who we're connecting other students with. I mean, it would be almost impossible. And it would also be almost impossible if we didn't know who they were and
Right.
what they were trying to do and what situations they were facing. So yes, you're right, Jordan. We have to make relationships, deep relationships, and understand the people that we're connecting to. And I think that's extremely important.
Yeah, I know if a student's got an admission-specific question, I can, we have a very good rapport with Jordan and with Caroline Edwards, you know. And so knowing that I've talked to these people, I've ate lunch with these people, I meet with these people,
Yep.
we know that like, hey, you can get this answer here, you know, and then, you know, once you're done with that, you know, come back and see us, we'll go on the next step.
Absolutely.
Do you want to explain a little bit more about Caroline's role in our
Yeah.
office?
Yeah, sure. You want to talk about it or you want me to talk about it?
Oh, go for it.
Okay. Sure. So I probably should talk about her because she reported to me for a little while now. She still all reports up through me. But Caroline Edwards is our admissions counselor that is a point person in admissions. If you're an active duty service member or you're a veteran and you want to have somebody that you can email, that you can call directly, that you know, you can ask questions about, have we received your joint service transcript, or have we gotten, maybe you've been to 5, 6 different colleges over your time, maybe you attended a lot of places throughout your service time, or whatever it may be. She is your point person. So if you go to our website, it's admissions.kennesaw.edu, again, admissions.kennesaw.edu. And you can click on Meet the Staff. It's in the middle of the page, and you'll see Caroline's bright, shining face. It looks way better than my face, and it's there about halfway down the page. But you'll see that her special population is veteran students. So you can start there, but we are well trained. And if you reach out and you start throwing out a 1606 and a niner and a whatever, then she's going to refer you to these guys, which is absolutely, that's why I love having the partnership that we've got. I've worked at 3 different universities that have been great universities, did a very good job serving veterans. Yeah. And I've never worked at an institution like Kennesaw State that truly values veteran students and truly serves veterans the way that these guys do, the way that their office does. So it's really, this is a special place, and we're at a special time where we have extremely supportive administration. We have some incredible things going on here at the institution that makes us attractive. If you're an active duty service member, it makes us accessible to you, depending on where you are, no matter where you are, as well as if you're a veteran and you're looking to come back and whether it's finish a degree or start a degree and make sure that you're using your benefits appropriately. We are here to serve you. So it's really, because of the type of place we are, it's a very, very high return on investment because of where we're located. I mean, even Richard's over here talking about having his work at CNN and getting to do some of the things. I mean, he wouldn't have been able to do those kinds of things. I mean, no offense, back in Mississippi, right? But it's back, right here in the metro area. There's so much accessibility, and there's so many people and entities, companies here that want you as students, because we know when our veterans come to school, y'all are ready to work. Y'all come ready to be successful in the classroom. You don't play games. You ask great questions of your faculty members. You're staying engaged. And we have some great, I get to serve on a committee with these 2 guys. They allowed me to serve, which is absolutely, I love it. And I learn about all of these cool success stories of our veteran students and how they come in, they're respectful to faculty members, and they really engage in the classroom. So we have, our faculty love having you in the classroom as well. But bring a certain level of maturity to the classroom, which is good.
Most of the time.
Most of the time, yeah, appropriate. And then appropriate goofing off, too.
Right.
But
I don't want to miss out on an opportunity to also give a shout out to our partners in the registrar's office. Our VA certifying officials are wonderful. They're great. We have 3 primary, but 4 total, counting Jenna, Blake, Donna, and Glenda Espana. You know, they're a wonderful team, and not to forget Mike Red. I mean, these are great partnerships that we developed over time, and without them, I mean, it just creates that supportive network, and I want to thank them as well, and they've done a great job, and they support their student population, you know, to the best of their ability.
Mike Red technically doesn't even work for veterans anymore. I called him today with an issue, so he's still very much, whether he likes it or not, he's part of the team.
Right.
Can you talk a little bit more about your community partnership? Because you talked about the disabled American veterans, but can you talk a little bit more about your community partnerships?
So community partnerships. So we really, when we first look at establishing community partnership, it would be real easy. I'll be honest, you know, there's a lot of like nonprofit organizations out there doing great work, but really we look to establish meaningful, practical partnerships. How can we serve our student veterans? You know, what are we really doing that's going to, that's going to be a benefit to these students. Not just check the box and okay, that was a nice event that one person showed up to. You know what I mean? So, whether it's disability, helping you with your disability claims with disabled American veterans, whether it's I'm trying to think right now. We have, you put me on the spot.
The American Legion.
There we go, American Legion. There's a number of other, career fairs and resource fairs and all these. There's other entities.
Hire Our Heroes.
Hire Heroes is one that comes to mind, and being able to plug them in, with all of these community and really, the VA in general. So yes, we got Margo now, but before we had Margo, we had a gentleman by the name of Ron Hackney, who's actually going to be here in June. I'll pull it out on my phone and check the date. But he's going to offer VA registration services. So, for example, if you are a student, a veteran, and you're like, I need to get VA health care or primary care set up, or you need to do your disability compensation claim or whatever, and all that is predicated on you getting registered with the VA first. You can't do any of that till you sign up with the VA. Yeah. Well, going to Decatur is not fun. That's a long trip that takes all day. We all know that, and we know that because we've done that. I do that, but and so by bringing him in, he's able to offer these registration services. Come in from like 10 to 2. In an afternoon here in the Marriott campus or on the Kennesaw campus, and really just sit down and get your information, put you in the system, boom, and then really just it's just way more accessible to come to the Kennesaw Marriott campus. You're one of 3 people, in a line, and then we may have 10 people, but you're not going to be sitting in an office in Decatur.
And we understand that when you have a family, you're working a job, you're going to school, like it's hard to find time to get to Decatur.
Right.
And it's unfortunate that that's the only place, that we know of that you can register for the VA. And that's the reason, why we invited Ron up on campus, is because we know those difficulties that people face. And so he has been very successful, and he comes in our office, pulls out his computer, he'll use my office, whatever's available, and he'll sit someone down and they'll, where do I start, Ron? Where do I begin with the VA processing stuff? And he'll educate them, sign them up on his computer, and in about a month or so, you'll get your VA card in the mail. And so it's really simple, and it's helpful.
And so that Ron Hackney will be on the Marietta campus on Wednesday, June 19th, from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. to offer those services. So shameless plug there. But
There you go.
That's what this is for.
Yeah.
Right.
Speaking of what this is for, what are some things that y'all do in your community to increase the camaraderie? What are some fun things that y'all do together?
So right now, we have tried and done some things in the past, some success, some failures, but what we saw that was more successful than others was outdoor adventures. We had an opportunity to kind of create a niche specifically for student veterans to go outdoor trips that we were able to partner with, and we would subsidize the cost for those trips for the students. And so right now we call it Veteran Outdoor Adventures. We've had 2 trips this past spring. We've got 1 set for the summer, which we're going to try to do another one for the summer for July, but we got to make sure we have staffing. We have Chris is going to have a baby over the summer. Congratulations. His wife is having a baby. So he'll be out, a portion of July. But again, congratulations, Chris, if you're listening. So Veteran Outdoor Adventures will be at Nitro Paintball on June the 15th. It'll be on a Saturday. So we started this about a year or so ago. So we've been biking, kayaking, hiking in the mountains. So there's zip lining and banning mills. So great opportunities and great pictures, and people to meet each other if you've never met. And this gets you off campus. It gets you in an environment where you're active and get something that you're more used to. So we found a lot of success in that, and we take recommendations on what trips would you like to see in the future. So that's one reason why we're doing paintball. But so any ideas that you want to send us, please email us, and we can set those up the best way we can with outside vendors and so forth. But that's one of our great assets right now, and it's been wonderful so far. At least I believe so. So.
Yeah.
And there's other universities that are trying this. So and I could say because we were one of the first ones to create an outdoor adventure program, but there are other universities that are attempting these sort of things as well, and are and come to find out, they're just as successful there as it is here. But it's a new trend, and it's something that I think is outside of what a student organization is. It's more physical and meaningful as far as being able to get outdoors and do.
Get to see some pretty nature and do something out. I enjoy
Shooting with paintballs.
Yeah,
Right.
shooting.
No,
Taking your aggression out, on your friends.
you want to go back and remember the glory days of what it meant to do something tactical, and then you realize it's been way too long since you've done anything tactical, and you hurt yourself.
And I'm
But no.
super slow at it.
Right, super slow out there. So lower expectations.
Maybe not carrying as much gear, so at least you got that, I guess.
Just swapped it out for pounds, but that's
Yeah.
okay. But I think that the VOA has really been a great opportunity that we do our best to. I enjoy trivia at the local bar as much as the next guy, maybe more than the next guy. But again, another opportunity to do something different, to get outside and do something that is healthy physically and mentally.
And we know that the student organization, which we were always open to be advisors for, and to continue that student organization, that we're always pushing it. But this is more consistent. We can provide a program that's more consistent, long term, and that's what we're trying to be able to do.
Okay. Very cool.
That's me. I'm sorry.
Oh, you're good.
I got a new phone on Saturday and haven't figured out how to turn that off yet. So
What kind of phone
Try
did you
that
get? Maybe
again.
somebody here can help you.
Yeah.
it's the new Galaxy.
Grandpa.
Yeah, for real. All right, what if I just mute everything?
He's figured it out.
Mute it all. My bad,
In
y'all.
these last couple minutes, if you're going to leave somebody, because I think we've already found out, we have a student veteran out there asking about what's going on, or reservists. We have maybe some parents out there, and they're thinking about, I don't know that I ever used all of my benefits, or any of my benefits.
That's a very common question.
I don't know. I mean, and here I have this 17-year-old daughter,
Right.
rising senior, getting ready to go to school, and I need to ask some questions. What are some things some real musts that you want to leave these people with, so that they know what they need to do, these kind of next steps?
Really, honestly, reach out to us just so we can assess. I mean, every time I sit down with a family, and sometimes it's families, sometimes it's just one student, sometimes it's the woman that just did 5 years in the military active duty and is getting out, and now she's transitioning to college. Sometimes it's my dad served 20 years in the Army, and now I'm trying to figure out where I'm going to school. So really come in and sit down with us. I'm going to go over everything tailor-made to you. The conversation is going to be centered around that student and what their aspirations, their goals, and potential roadblocks might be.
And I'd just like to mention that you don't have to receive an education benefit
Right.
to be able to use our services. So, even if you don't know, or you do know that they're not receiving a benefit, we can still support, your dependent or the veteran and themselves if they've extinguished everything. I mean, that's what we're there for. So you don't have to receive benefits to utilize our services.
I think one of our biggest advantages is the fact that, a guy can come in our office, whether he's using benefits or not, and know that he's talking to Richard. Richard was an Army grunt for 4 years. He's kind of been there. I've been to college. I've used these benefits. I've literally been in the same shoes that this person's in, and they know that they can, that this person's done it before. And Frank is the same way. They know they can come in and talk to any one of us, or our student assistants, who are all veterans independents. Every one of them is either a dependent or a veteran.
Yeah.
And they know that they're going to get firsthand information and experience.
And we've had parents come in and they've been out, for years, been retired. They use their benefits for themselves, and they just want to know what can KSU do for their dependent? And so they're not receiving a benefit, but they're part of the community. So they'll sit down with us and they're like, oh, well, thank you for taking the time. Like we would spend an hour and a half explaining, what KSU could offer that individual, and we take the time to be able to explain everything in the process and so forth. And they just generally feel like they had someone to there for them to talk to them one-on-one.
Right. Maybe looking out for their son or daughter, because they know that even if there's not a benefit involved, they're not getting anything out of this other than the fact that their son or daughter has a place that they can go on campus to do their homework, where they know that everyone else in that office is going to be a dependent veteran or service member. So they know that there is a kind of a safe spot.
A unique location for them specifically.
Yeah, they have a hidden computer lab. So
Yep.
if
We've got
you-
2 computer labs.
Then there you go.
Yeah.
I think one last thing I want to touch on, I think some very tangible benefits that I recognize just when I'm like going around campus is we have special parking for Purple Heart recipients.
Right.
And I know that's something y'all worked on very hard to get.
And to mention, to go back to the first, we're the first public school to be designated as a Purple Heart University. So with that,
in the state.
Awesome.
to kind of hammer that, and to expand on that, we were given Purple Heart parking. I think there were 6 across campus on Marriott and Kennesaw at various parking decks and parking lots on the university. So it is a great attribute to have.
Yep.
I used to be surprised by them. I'd pull around the corner and be like, "That's a spot." No, not for me. That's the
It's a
definitely-
We can fix
motorcycle.
that.
Nope. That's definitely the spot I don't want to park at. But that, and then I think y'all have some laptops, right?
Yep.
And some help with books and things like that too. Some
Right.
some
Some
additional
supplies.
resources to try to help students.
Yeah, I mean, we try to do everything that we can. Again, when I started school, I had to acquire a laptop. So some of those things to start you out on the road for success. So we have laptops to check out, the super expensive calculators, the TI-84s and whatnot. So we try to provide those things for people who are starting out and do not have or has not yet received benefits to be able to buy those sort of things.
And we don't have a huge supply, like we don't have like a big drawer full of laptops and TI-84 plus calculators. But that being said, you're still trying, you're waiting on your book money, you're waiting on that money to come in, you're trying to get on your feet. Come check out one of our laptops, come check out one of our nice calculators, get through the first couple months, and then once you get underway and you're able to get, then check it back in so another student can take advantage of it. And we're here for you.
Yeah, and we have, thanks to Chris Rouse, we have the ability to buy more as needed. So that resource is there as well.
That's awesome. Well, I think we're at the end of our time, so I'm going to say big special thank you, and thank you y'all both so much for your service as well to our incredible country. I say the greatest country in the world. But thank you both so much. And so again, Frank Richard from Military and Veteran Services. Why don't y'all throw out the website one more time?
So that's MVS, that's Mike Victor Sierra, .kennesaw.edu.
Awesome.
Check us out.
Oh, and we're on Facebook too. We have a Facebook page.
Well, it's appropriate
Just
today.
Kennesaw State University Military and Veteran Services. You'll find us.
Yeah.
There you go. I'm Jordan.
I'm Jacinta.
Yeah, and we're going to see you next time here on Facebook Live, Ask Admissions. Thanks a lot. Hooty hoo. Go out.
Owl Nation.